Hey, 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 hey. Another Well Woman Wednesday. Another Well Woman Wednesday. And today we're still talking branding and marketing. We get to talk to another Well member. I'm really excited for this conversation. This person actually, her business is in the branding and marketing space. So we get to, have some expertise that is connected to working in that space, and as well as some lived expertise. Here at the Well, we see expertise in a number of ways, and one of them is by working in the space. One is learning in that space, so you went to school for it. And another is through your lived experiences. A lot of times we discount those lived experiences as expertise, but guess what? Every time we go through something, we learn something. Every time we find a new way, we learn something. And so all of that matters here at the Well. And so today we are talking, we're going to get to experience a few different types of expertise around in the branding and marketing space with the person that we are talking to. So I'm going to kick us off with this conversation today. My name is Nakia Drummond. I am founder of the Well, and I'm excited to be here every Well Woman Wednesday. I'm anxious and nervous because going live makes me nervous. But as soon as that other woman joins me on the screen, I'm always feel like I'm just talking to a good friend. And, really that's what it's about here at the Well, is developing community, building community, and developing bonds that allow you to just show up in your fullness, be you, and so that you can grow your business in your fullness as yourself, and in collaboration with others, because we can certainly go further together. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And we really believe that here. We're excited always, every time we have an opportunity to collaborate, whether it is supporting each other's products and services, which we have done for this young lady who's joining me today. The Well has actually worked with her on a couple projects, and she has been dynamic and shown up so awesomely for us and created some beautiful things for us. So I'm excited because we have actually collaborated. But also, it's a space where you can, sort of just experience your growth and transformation in your way, right? In your season, in your time, and be supported in doing that. So 5 pillars inside of the Well: community, collaboration, confidence, capital, and celebration. And so today I'm hoping to hit on most of those pillars in this conversation, and I'm going to invite the lady who will be joining me in a moment. And before I do, I want to circle back on our conversation from last week, our conversation from Tuesday, which I thought was Wednesday, because I've been doing a lot of reflecting on this soft life bit, where I was saying it had been a long week and it was Tuesday. And I started asking other people about, sort of how they are creating soft life as an entrepreneur, right? Like, what does that mean? What does that look like for you as an entrepreneur? And so many people shared things that they're doing, and I shared mine. And so mine was that I must do my morning routine at least most days. And even though it feels like a lot, and I wonder sometimes, why do I need all of this? I just have to accept that I need it. And I would like to report that sticking with my morning routine, just even over this last week, has made such a tremendous difference in my mental space, my productivity, the grace that I'm giving myself, and just how I can show up for others too. And so I just want to encourage you all to figure out what that element of soft life for you is. So for me, it is giving myself, if it's 2 hours in the morning, to be in the zone, just treating myself good, that I'm doing that, and that I don't need to feel guilty about it, or that I should be doing something else, whether for the family or starting my day. Early bird catches the worm, all of that. That for me, I need that is soft life. So whatever yours is, I'm just here to remind you again to find that thing for you, and to stick with it and to honor it. So we are going to jump in this conversation. I am talking today with Aja Daniels, who is the CEO or the founder of Agent Mac Designs, and she is a graphic designer and does really, really beautiful work. I wish I had something to show you that she made. And in particular, she made this beautiful design, this pen for us, this like lapel pen, earlier this year. And working with her has been such a pleasure. And having her in this community is a pleasure because, you know, marketing and branding are the sexy things that everybody want to do in their business. And so knowing that we have somebody here who is expert in that space and who really takes her craft seriously and is just such a great collaborator is really exciting. So I'm going to invite her in. I'm going to ask her a few questions over like the next 30 minutes. So get some wine, get something to drink, join us, be in community with us. She's going to drop some jewels. Everybody drops jewels on these Well Women Wednesdays, like unexpected things that just come out of this. So just relax with us, join us, be here with us, and I'm going to invite Aja in. McDaniels. I said Aja Daniels. I'm sorry, y'all. Clearly Aja Mac. Duh. So here is Aja joining us. Hey,
Hi,
Aja.
Nakia. How are
How
you?
are you? Good, good. I'm out in the sun and
Look,
sitting on the patio. This is my studio now when I like go live. At least until it's freezing cold, and then you probably won't get to,
look,
drag me out the door.
look, we got to take full advantage of this weather because it's been
Full
amazing.
advantage. So So yes, I did a quick little intro, but you will certainly introduce yourself better. So tell us about you. Tell us your brand story.
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's definitely, a super honor to be able to speak to the women of the well, as well as anyone who wants to connect through the well. My name is Aja Mac. Due to a lot of people back in the day, they used to call me because my full name's Aja McDaniels. They would call me, "Hey, Aja Mac," and
Mhm.
an artist, actually maybe two people, an artist, the illest artist, some may know him. He actually gave me the idea of using that as my brand name because I think I made it as my social, but I wasn't too serious.
Nice. Shout out to Brad.
Yes, Brad. And then a friend of mine, Tanisha, she also kind of like honed in on like, yeah, that would be real cool. So I stuck with it, kept that in my brand name. Also, and you'll see why I kind of kept that as my brand name too, because in the beginning stages, you don't really kind of know too much about what your brand is. And I started out in marketing. Started out at Morgan and then transferred to University of Baltimore and then furthered my education in graphic design. In the beginning, it was really all about just having the ability to use Photoshop and Illustrator. And
Mm-hmm.
I came from designing logos in class, and that sounded, just so fun. I'm like, oh, I could do this. That's easy at first.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It always starts. Oh, that's easy. I could do that. And then started doing that on the side while I was also doing makeup at working at Mac and Nordstrom. Did that for maybe like 5 years, and then eventually made the evolution to going full time with my business and just helping a lot of small businesses build their dreams, getting started out. And just understanding what's needed from a brand through the people that I'm working with. I'm glad that you said sometimes you have different levels of expertise that can come from school
Mm-hmm.
life. And I can guarantee you, majority of what I know doesn't even come from what I learned in school. Because one,
Right.
longer,
Because I went to school for marketing,
yeah,
right? Like I went to school for marketing too. And yeah, like, the what you learn there is how to be an employee, right? Like you really,
exactly. You
yeah.
an employee and you kind of learn how to learn. You learn how to fall back
Yeah.
fundamental
Yeah.
when things
Yep.
fray. You're like, okay, wait,
Yep.
I know this is a
Yep.
bullet point that I can go
Yep.
and find out how
Yep.
that evolved since I've been, in school. But I've learned a lot through the work. The people that I work with right now, my biggest clients are KDW Catering, which I do a lot of marketing material for them, as well
Mm-hmm.
as airs to great, oh, they're so inspiring brands that, has helped me along the way, like giving me Stephen Williams, giving me great advice,
Yep.
Ernie, and also through the Audacity group, Dion joined the wing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
person. She
Yep.
definitely inspires me to keep going when things get
Yep.
tough. You know, that's what's great about working with small businesses too, because we all kind of went
Yeah. We
through.
get it. Right? We get it. Yep. For sure. So how long have you been in business?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How long have you been in business?
So it's been since 2008. Lord, is my math bad? So what's that? 18, 19, 20, 5 years. That's right,
Mhm.
5 years. That's official. Now I've been working
Mhm.
as a graphic designer since 2013, but I didn't officially
Okay.
till 2018. And I say that distinctly because I took it. It's different when you go full time. You know, you take it a little.
Mhm.
You understand all the hats that you're wearing a little bit better than when it's kind of a cushy, side job. You know, you have your full time, you're making enough money to sustain what you may not be doing in your.
Yep.
But once it becomes
Yep.
you got to get it together. So
Yeah. You gotta get it together. So that being said, I'm gonna ask you this: what's your big why? Like, why do you do this? Why do you, why this space, right? What's your big why?
I love that you said that because that evolved. I didn't know what my why was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Became something through working with my clients. First,
Mm-hmm.
I love to do logos. Then it was
Mm-hmm.
I love to work with small businesses. Then it was, wait, some of the small businesses I'm working with actually contributes to the community.
Mm-hmm.
In a space where majority of the clients I work with, either they're a nonprofit or they also have a nonprofit sector involved in their business, or they just have a product that is about sustainability. So it's always
Mm-hmm.
a little bit deeper. They get their purpose. They know why and they have a great understanding, which makes my job a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
That their audience is asking for from them.
Mm-hmm. So let's give you a big why, some kind of sexy statement so people remember. All right. So Asia's big why is it to make these brands, these purposeful brands, pop, look good, resonate, be memorable, all of those things.
That's right. I essentially help them communicate to
Yep.
through vision
Yep.
and
So
word.
you help them further their purpose and make it stick with people. That's awesome. That's wonderful. And you get to do something you enjoy.
Yeah, that's what you have to. Because if you don't, then yeah.
And clearly you're an artist, a makeup artist, like clearly like artists all up and through. Do you draw? Do you paint? Do you do something else with your hands now that you know, or do you still do makeup?
I used to draw when I was a kid. My mother used to push me to do that, and someone told me you don't make any money as an artist, so I gave that up.
Mm,
But it's always been in me. Like I've always wanted
yeah,
to sing as an artist. I used to dance. I wanted to sing. I can't sing.
yeah.
But I end up falling into makeup and graphic design in a way where I didn't know it was a space that was available.
Mhm.
It happened when a friend of mine, when I was just kind of having a conversation about I didn't know where I wanted my life to go. And just somehow, as I'm talking, they heard in my words that graphic design could be a thing for me. And that was the first,
Mhm.
that wasn't until my late 20s.
Mhm.
And then when I went to into marketing, one of the subjects was geared towards creating images on using the tools like Photoshop and
Mhm.
and that led to it was kind of like a time where a lot of people were getting into logo design using those tools, and then getting into graduate school, I understood it's more than just about creating something on Photoshop and Illustrator. It really is about communication. Uh,
Yeah. And evoking feeling and emotion and like connection, right? Like it has to do those things because that's what makes it memorable, right? You remember it because of how it made you feel. And so, yeah, it's a whole psychology, right? It is psychology.
that's something I actually have been thinking about getting into is the psychology of just people and behaviors because
Hmm.
that helps the
You are in it.
flow. I'm
You
definitely in it.
you are in it, honestly.
Understanding some things through the process, but I feel like and I'm also that kind of person. I always want to understand what people are doing while they're doing it. So
Yep.
yeah, you definitely got to have a lot of
Yeah, you got to understand people's motivations and things because that's how sort of you use that information to design.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, and shout out to not shout out, but like let's circle back on the people who, you know, use their fears to, well intended or not, to like keep children or people from doing the things that they want to do. So somebody telling you don't make money, and like as an artist, like, and first of all, I'm like, well, damn, you could just enjoy drawing and painting and it doesn't have to be about that, right? Like that we have to have things that are not about profiting off of them, but just for the love of it.
That's
Like that we have to have space for that. That's part of that soft life, right? Like some things just have to be for the love and for joy.
oh,
And then the other part of that is like, and you totally can. Like not like fill in the blank with whatever it is. I think we've seen that more and more over the last several years, that you can make money doing anything.
you sure?
Like literally anything. Anything.
I
Um
on
yeah, it's crazy. And I mean I do, and I don't know how old you are, but I feel like my the early millennials, which is me, are like that group of us, like we are just like starting to try and train our minds to believe those sorts of things, because I think that our upbringing was very much like you get the job, you stay there, you lock in, right, and you retire and sail off in the sunset then, but not until then, right? And so it's a wrestling of like a lot of undoing and unlearning that has to take place to thrive in a space in entrepreneurship, one, but like also with like things that you love.
right. That's right. And that's kind of understanding people's personas and why they do what they do, say what they say. Even that person who said that to me, I know why they said it. The
Mm-hmm.
time where each generation has evolved a little bit. Their generation was about survival, and
Yep.
minority as a Black person, you had to make sure you had to have something that was going to make some money. And if it's not
Yep.
dream,
Yep.
that's not doing anything for anybody. So
Yeah.
I understood why they
Yeah.
now they look at me and say, I'm so proud of what
Yeah. And that's beautiful.
and for what it was that, why I was doing what I did, back as a kid. So
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and I mean, and it's beautiful that we get to like each generation like evolve a little further out, right? Like take one step, move one step away from our trauma, like another step out of our trauma, and like live differently, and that we can make decisions now that are not all about survival or all about safety, but that some can just be about joy and freedom. And but it's very easy to not realize that we don't have to like make our decisions in that same way.
right. And guess
It's
your brand is the same way. It evolved
mm,
from different generations of what your brand used to be. It was about, in the beginning, survival. You wanted to make sure,
oh, you are on it.
okay, you wanted to make sure that you got a website, that you got a logo,
Yep.
that
That you took whatever work because you needed money, you
right.
needed clients, and you are so right about that evolution. Like I'm in a next phase of that, like myself, right? Where I'm like, I actually had a revelation last week when I asked the person I interviewed, what's her why?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking like, man, I just asked her why. And part of my wrestling lately with my consulting business is that why has evolved.
Mm-hmm.
And I am like, what's my why now? Because I did all of that stuff, right? Like I actually did what the why was then. And
Mm-hmm.
so as soon as you got on, you said something about your why evolving, or like, and I'm like, man, okay, this is going to be good because that is so real. Like it's not static.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like generationally it is the same, both in like how we show up in our fullness and our freedom and all of that, and like recognizing and honoring even and appreciating like where certain pieces of like advice or people holding you back from certain things, like where it came from. But
Right.
then also like what's our responsibility to now in this time to um to like to move forward, right? Like how do we go ahead and like claim the safety that is actually ours, the safety, and that's a part of like the Wells existence, which is about every person needs the privilege and the space to fail forward, to not get it all right. And we haven't always had that safety. And, many of us feel like we still don't, right? Like I'm growing this business on my own. I'm growing it with my personal money or whatever. And the feeling that you have the space to like not get it perfect or not get it right is not there. And just historically, Black women haven't had space to like not get whatever right.
Not whatever.
Right. So that being said, how do you um, how do you overcome or push through, and I hate this term, imposter syndrome? And here's why I hate it before you go into that. I hate it because imposter syndrome puts it on us.
Mm-hmm.
When the reality is a lot of what we feel like a lack of belonging or I don't fit is because the spaces that we have to operate in do not account for us, are not designed with us in mind. So yeah, you feel like an imposter in a space that never considered you. But
Right.
that's not about you. That's about the space. And so how do you navigate that? How are you overcoming it?
I'm glad you said that because I had a little bit of that today when I was getting on the call. Like, am I ready? And do I know? But it's like I have to remember. Like, I can talk about this real quick to anybody with a lot of passion without thinking about it. But it's until I start thinking about it, I was like, wait a second, do I know what I'm talking about? So it's kind of like pulling the support that I already have, reminding myself,
Mm-hmm.
like listening more to the positive things people say about me.
Mm-hmm.
Her voice is telling me a lot of negative. It's telling me
Mm-hmm.
right, what I'm not doing well. As an artist, I'm definitely naturally a perfectionist. I'm going to spend more time on some work that I probably don't need to spend time on. But that also comes with evolution and growing and acknowledging what I'm good at, communicating to people what it is that I do so they can kind of give me great feedback. Listening to your audience, another nugget that I want to kind of tap into, listening to your audience and hearing them as opposed to putting all the decision making of what your brand needs to be or who you need to be, not even just your brand, but who you need to be on yourself. Even like shout out to Ayana today, Fancy Free, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ayana.
Person who every time I saw her, she knew I wanted to kind of get out the retail space. And she was like, okay, so when's the date? Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what the date is.
Oh, Ayana will hold you accountable,
Hold
okay?
you accountable, okay? Here's a date for you. You got it. You can do this. So I listen to everybody who gives me positivity. I'm not a person, like, I don't feel like I have haters, maybe because, I don't know, I'm just a real chill person. But I'm also I'm not going to overcompensate for somebody, for something or someone that doesn't fit with me,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't want to work with me. I'm not trying to be something that I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Be me, and if it doesn't work,
Mm-hmm.
I'll find something, another space to be in, or I'll learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's about recognizing, like it's real. Imposter syndrome is real, or the doubts that you have in your mind is real. But where is it coming from, and where do you need to shift that focus so that you can
Mm-hmm.
back to noticing and recognizing and living the thing
Mm-hmm.
good for you and only
Mm-hmm.
so.
So you just spoke about and you said it so casually, like about being you, right? Like and knowing who you are. Like
That's
how what's the work you've done to know who you are, right? And then how does that also then translate into your brand and
yeah.
knowing who your brand, because you have like your brand has an identity that you are constantly shaping, that's always evolving and all that. And sometimes you can get caught up in the craziness of, or what other people say it is, because people will go out and describe the thing that you do and you have to like go and fix it and clean it up, or be like, no, I know, or yeah, I used to do that, but that's not what this is about. So what's the work that has to be done to, I want to talk about it like personally, because you said it so casually, but then how that then translates to your brand, your business brand.
So it's,
Hey, Teak.
I would say about understanding your audience first and foremost. You can't really make too many moves without understanding who it is that you're speaking to. For me, it's my client. So I got to understand what makes them tick. When do they want what they want? How do they want what they want? So I have clients who kind of rely on me to make the expert decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Who have all the decisions already made, and they just want you to execute. But for me,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of like leaning on me and just and relying on me to say, you know what, this is what needs to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. What I was trying to say, I do that stuff. But basically, I
Take
guess
your time, baby. Take your time. And Miss Tudor said you knew who you were since you were 8.
yes. Basically, in a nutshell, you just got to know who you're speaking to. You got to understand
Mm-hmm.
what words they resonate from, what times of the day that they like to receive their information, what platforms do they like to receive their information. I have clients who don't love to work through email because they have so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
Clients who all the communication is through like a platform like Asana or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about understanding who your audience is, who your clients are, and especially not assuming everybody is your client and your audience, because that's going to make
Woo.
it very fuzzy.
Yeah, wait, can we talk about that for a moment? But before we talk about that, I just want to say that I'm so glad the way you are talking about the brand, and you say things so casually, but I listen intently. Like that's one of my superpowers, is like I listen real good, like when people are sharing things. But you talking about people, that your brand is about your customers, not about you. Like your brand is about what they care about, what they want, what resonates with them, what moves them. Like it's not about you. And
Right.
so is that a big mistake you feel like people make in like forming their business brand, that they make it for themselves?
Oh, definitely. And that was a mistake that I was making in the beginning. I would design
Mm.
based on what colors they like, and but there is a little bit of still you in it. So
Mhm.
kind of use that as a starting point, because you don't
Mhm.
right away. You don't even know everything that you want to right away. So just
Mhm.
get the ball rolling. Sometimes you do kind of rely on, well, this is what I like. But
Right.
you know your audience, and I would say invest heavily in
Mhm.
who your audience is. You can even just start with simple research, like posting a survey on Instagram. You can do research on Google. Like Google is reliable in some spaces.
Mhm.
Just to understand a little bit about who that demographic of women from 30 to 45, who are they? That's a lot of people. Well, let's
Mhm.
be specific. Are we talking to mothers? Are we talking to business owners? Like, who are we talking to specific?
Right.
Your message is going to be a little bit different.
Right. Are we talking to single mothers? Are we talking to married mothers? Are we talking to? Yeah. Yep.
Different incomes, hear things a little bit different. I always love to use, when it comes to audience and purpose, because we're talking about why, which leads
Mhm.
the difference between Target and Walmart, because they're so alike and so different at the same time.
Yes.
But I can tell you, I'm a Target girl all the way.
Mhm.
Because so for instance, Target, they want their experience or their purpose for families to enjoy life, enjoy the things.
Mhm.
And when you think of that, you're talking about what you feel around you, what your experience is going into a space, not necessarily how much it costs. That's not necessarily always what you have, but when I go in, do I enjoy the experience? And now I can find what it is that I want. Whereas
Right.
Walmart, they're all about just making life a little bit easier. So that means
Mhm.
lower price. I don't go
Mm-hmm.
expecting an amazing experience. If
Mm-hmm.
I went to Target, I didn't see what I needed, and
Right.
trying to see what they get, and I'm going to get in and get out.
Right.
Probably going to try to get to the back door so I can avoid most of the Walmart.
Right. Right.
So, but
You
they
go in Walmart like kind of ready for battle in
right,
some to some degree, whereas you go in Target like, oh, it's an experience. I'm gonna stop and get my latte, and yes,
that's money.
right, right, right. And then $250 later, you leave, even though you came in to get something for 10. Or
That's
is that just my story?
and
Um,
right. They
and
know
they know that,
Walmart knows who they're not trying to be Target. They're not trying to give
right?
experience. They're trying to provide convenience and lower prices. So they dip into the spaces of getting a Walmart Plus that's competing with Amazon. So they can be more convenient, offer a lower
Yeah,
because now you're
yeah,
up for Walmart Plus, maybe you're getting a lower price. Target's not trying to get into that space.
right.
They're online shoppers into the stores still. Like they when
Yep.
you go into their website, when you go to pick out a product, they'll have in like almost red lights because that's their color. Um,
And that makes you spend money.
yeah,
Like it's
a
energizing.
color
It's a thing. It's a thing.
thing, but they have in bold, offerings. You can also pick this up in the store because they want to keep bringing you to the store. So, and the reason why they're doing that because they understand that audience wants an experience. They've listened, they've heard, they know
Mm-hmm.
what the
Mm-hmm.
Walmart. They listen, they've heard, they know what the message is. They're not trying to be each other. They just
Mm.
do, for whatever reason, be compared to each other because they sell, a whole lot of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
they know exactly what they're saying only because they're listening to their audience.
Yeah, no, that.
If you have employees, your audience is also internal. You got to listen to what your employees are saying about
Yep.
running the business. Maybe they want something, not even just your benefits of the job, but maybe they want to see something happen with the brand, and you kind of listen to
Yep. Yep. And then there's some that are like closer to your customers than you ever are.
exactly.
And they see their experience, right? And so their experience, or they may struggle with something, but and that then in turn impacts the customer or the client experience. And so what they're calling out speaks to both their needs and something that the customer is wrestling with. Look, we can talk about it. We could go in on this all day. And as you're talking about it, I'm like, there's so many like life psychology things wrapped up in this because when you're talking about Walmart ain't trying to be Target, Target ain't trying to be Walmart, right? Like there is, so let's talk about it for like just black people for a moment, right? Like and because that's our focus, right? Black women in particular, it historically there has not been enough, and like lack is, like there's not been enough available to us, and that lack is a part of like what's been passed down.
Mm-hmm.
Then you understand why somebody, and it's not that just that black people struggle with this, but I think like when you don't have, or when you feel like there's a limit or
Mm-hmm.
that it's limited, it's more present. But you then understand why somebody would be very anxious about the notion of being very niche and
Mm-hmm.
like picking a target market, and not because so many people start with, I sell to everybody.
You
I
don't.
want to talk to everybody. I want everybody to buy my thing. I want everybody using my such and such, and it doesn't serve you.
Right. And
It doesn't.
it's dangerous
Yeah.
if you say you want everybody to be your audience and you have nothing in common with the people you think is your audience. If I'm speaking from a perspective of a mother who has support versus a mother who's a single mother who may not have the same support, and you're trying to sell a product to the same person, the lines are just going to be all over the place. Like you're just not going to be
All over the place. Yep.
you may both be black women, but you're coming from different perspectives. Like you can't definitely, you definitely can't assume it's a monolith because it's so much more vast. Even the person down the street might have a completely different experience than I have. So niche
Yep.
protects you from saying the wrong thing. I mean, sometimes you're going to,
Mm-hmm.
you
You gonna say the wrong. Yeah, but it does. It does protect you from for sure saying the wrong thing and offending people and all. But then you made a point too where you were like, Yeah, I end up in Walmart sometimes, but you spoke about like in Target, right? Like Target is talking to a very particular customer, and so is Walmart, and like you're the Target customer. But like, but guess what? That's what I tell people all the time. People who aren't your target market will still end up buying your thing. Like that's just
Exactly.
like they
That
will.
that's the customer who looks at the person that is your customer and says, you know what, I actually want to do what they do. You know, if I saw somebody shopping at Amazon, they got something real easy, I might have said I can't stand online shopping, but I also would like to get my products a little bit quicker. So now I become I may not be the target market for Amazon. Maybe I'm not constantly on there always shopping. Maybe I'm not signing up for the Prime membership. But I at least thought to myself, there's something that I wanted to get a little quick. Maybe I can go to Amazon because I saw somebody else do it.
KDW is shouting you out in here. So shout back out to y'all, Steven and Tiffany holding it down.
Uh, they are like my rock. I can't
Yeah.
more highly because yeah, I can go into a whole story about KDW. KDW cares, the whole team, all of them. Like they just definitely keep me afloat.
And are like just great people. Like
Yes.
great good people, truly.
Cindy,
So
that's my
all right,
girl.
so let's keep going. Let's keep going. So continuing in this vein of marketing, this is the last question I'm actually specifically about marketing, but I mentioned in the earlier part of the conversation, I always say, like, this is the sexy part, right? Like, everybody wants to say, like, it's my marketing. Like, that's what I need, or that's what I need to focus on. That's where the biggest budgets go. People like to give attention to it. It's fun. It's the marketing branding is like the cool thing. So as someone in that space, as an expert in that space, what's something you wished customers, businesses would do or invest in before they work with you?
Oof. Again, the audience. So once you get and understand your audience, now you're creating what your message is going to be, what your branding is going to be, what your visuals are going to look like, what colors you're going to choose, what people you're going to choose for your campaign. Maybe you want to target in your advertisement um, um, Black professionals, but that's an array. That's so many different things. But if you don't have a clue about what your messaging is, what your voice is, there's no way to narrow that down to be able to speak and decide this campaign is specifically speaking to professional men just coming out of college, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
who've been in the business for many years, or men who are specifically in Baltimore wanting to connect to the youth or something, like whatever that campaign may be. Because if you just jump in and say, hey, I want to promote my product, you're spending a lot of money. You need to make sure the money that you're spending is being used appropriately and effectively and efficiently.
Yep. And
Otherwise,
people will tell you what they want and what they don't want. They
it,
really. But why do you think people might be gun shy or afraid to go and talk to their audience before they do the thing? Like, why do you think people
I
like
think
move on a thing, like want to move in silence? You hear that all the time. Like, I move in silence. Like, people just want to like bam pop out with a thing instead of like doing some of that, like listening at times, or the survey, or like putting out there like, hey, here's something we're considering doing, or I'm considering doing, and I would love like thoughts or feedback or whatever around like a key question or something. Why do you think people shy away from that?
usually the answer is fear. You're afraid to hear the truth. It may be difficult with and engaging with your audience because maybe you're just afraid to do it. It's from a space of being too shy, or it's easier just to do the work. Some people get offended by feedback. And I feel like feedback is the best thing to get, because you're not going to know anything about yourself till you hear somebody give you something that says, you know what, that's not working for me. And I would want someone to tell me that's not working for me, as opposed to leaving the service. I
Yeah.
from my clients all the time, that makes me say, you know what, I might even sit back and be like, I don't know if that's right, or maybe I'm thinking like, oh, well, where is this coming from? I might think that at first, because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when things don't go well, you might feel attacked, initially, but
Mm-hmm.
pause for a second and really
Mm-hmm.
they're saying, what they're saying is, I want to still support you, and I'm apologizing for
They're
this.
giving you the answers. It's like they're giving you the answers to the test.
They they're giving you. I love that. They're giving you the answers to the test. They let you know, hey, I got your back, but I just need you to do this for me. This will make my life a little bit easier to be able to keep supporting your business. Like I see,
Yep.
they
Yep.
can do the tweak.
Yep.
So it's
So,
just, you got to get a little bit confident in receiving feedback.
yep. So you joined the Well at the top of this year,
I did.
right?
Did.
And so what about like the Well like spoke to you? What about this community? Like what was what did you hear or see that said that's where I'm gonna go? That's where I want to be a part.
So initially, I heard about the Well back when I first left my job, working full time, and I actually pulled in a friend who was actually, I told a couple of people, hey, I saw this thing about the Well. They're going to be, I think, we down at our house. You were kind of like launching
Mm-hmm.
the
Oh
Well.
wow, that was a long time ago.
Um, Now, initially, I was just kind of jumping anything. I was ready to find an office space. I was trying to do a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I was like, wait a second. I'm about to spend a lot of money, and I just left my full time, and I'm not making any money. So where's the
Right. Right.
um? Then I kept seeing, different things on social media about the Well, and just kind of like, you know what, I'm really interested, and just kind of taking little bits of information in. And finally I said, you know what, I need this, because I was in a space where I wasn't quite sure. I'm actually kind of in a rebranding. I'm not quite sure where the direction is going to go just yet, but I just
Mm-hmm.
needed some help and support to get to that space, not only to know where my brand is going, but just to run the business itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
5 years, there's been different things that I've learned over the years that have helped me kind of realize, wait, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
In just a few meetings that I've been in with the Well, I got a wealth of information. My
Mm-hmm.
my memories is bad, because this was back in February, I believe it was. A young lady, she gave us information about how to plan out your increase, or like whether it be increase in income, in a manner where you're not overworking yourself. So you're kind of planning that
Yeah,
out.
where
So you
you're
also,
like, oh, when she did How Not to Go to Work, Del Shane. Shout out to Del Shane.
it was about how basically like plan in your ability, in your timeline that you're trying to plan out how you're going to make more income. Make sure you
Mm-hmm.
this income is going towards my vacation. The income
Yeah, yeah,
hiring an
yeah.
employee to be able to take the vacation. Like there's so much more to just saying, well, let me increase my prices, or let me get in more clients. Because you get more clients and you overworking yourself. Like what else
Yep,
do you do besides just get more clients?
yep.
So that's
It's on video. It's recorded, Holly. Yeah, no, that was a really good one. Okay, so one more question for you. One of the pillars of the Well is collaboration.
mhm.
Who is your dream collaboration with, and what would y'all do together?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't given that much thought. I guess I one. I gotta actually think about that. But I guess on the surface, I would think that would be my first thought, is to
Wait,
collect.
say that again. You went out.
Oh, I love me some Mary J. Blige, some MJB.
Okay.
So I mean, if I'm thinking like, I don't know, just a dream in the sky type thing, that would be a great collaboration. But I don't know. I gotta think about that. I'm glad you asked that, because maybe that's something I need to put on my, mood board.
I've been asking everybody that, and it stops everybody in their tracks. Um,
Okay.
and so it's an intentional question, because literally everybody pauses. And so what I've been saying too is to everybody who's here, I'm asking you the same thing, right? Because it is a moment to dream,
Mm-hmm.
and not just be like doing. Like if you were preparing yourself to be able to collaborate with them and thinking about working with them, would there be some things you might be doing differently that you might be seeking like sort of a different level of clarity on, in a way in which you would like your business would show up if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted them to like see you and notice you.
Oh,
And And so what I told the first person that I asked this a few weeks ago was, all right, well, since we're talking marketing and branding, oh, and she was talking about like how social media is this free tool, like, while it's one that people like either you love or you hate, but like the reality is it used to be that you had to absolutely pay for all of your marketing.
Uh-huh.
And now you've got this free tool. And so like use it, right? Like what can you do with it? How can you have it serve you? And so then I threw out, well, since we're talking about that, like, and I threw out that question, I'm like, since you don't know your answer, when you come up with it, like, can you create a post or a story and tag that person in it? Because we might as well, like, closed mouths don't get fed. We might as well, sort of call that thing into us. And like, would you be ready to like, to do that and to go ahead and put the seed out there? Like, it might not be time to work with them, but it might.
Right.
It might. You never know. And so I said I was going to do it. I haven't done it yet either because I've got a couple in mind, but I'm no pressure on anybody in terms of a timeline, but I am challenging all of us that like when it comes to you, when it hits you and it's like real, like that you go ahead and put that out there because this is a space that the whole world is open to us, like in a way that it never was before. And so shame on us if we don't take advantage of what's there, what's available to us.
Like, I mean, if you don't get anything out of the journey, it's just about kind of taking those leaps every day.
Every day.
This is nothing that's going to stop me but myself. So I'm up for that challenge. When you said it, it struck a little.
So when you do it, make sure you tag us so that we can repost, so that we can celebrate it, so that we can like touch and agree and send out the good vibes too. And anybody else who does it, if you are up for that challenge, one of our pillars is collaboration. The question was, who is your dream collaboration with and what would y'all do together? So you could do a quick story post. You could post something like anything and tag them and tag us so that we can be in agreement with you and celebrate. That's one of our pillars too. Celebrate you doing it first and foremost, but then also all that can follow it because you just never know. Somebody might know that person.
That's true.
Or be connected to somebody that knows that person and get that, message out to them in a way that resonates. So I'm excited that you are here today. My last question is usually what advice do you have? But like you dropped so many jewels, so many elements of advice that I don't even need to ask those things again. So if you missed this early on, you might have missed the advice. But so if you want to be so kind as to like, if there's one thing that you want to share in closing that people might want to take away, go for it.
I would say just use your fears as a way to propel yourself to do something greater. Don't look at it as a way to stop yourself or hinder you from doing something that you're destined to do.
All right. You can have fear, but don't let fear have you. Boom. We out. Thank you so much, Asia. I appreciate you. I'm excited to do more work together.
Thank you.
Thanks for being a part of this community and bringing your excellence and your expertise here.
Thank you so much, Nakia. I really appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it here. Another Well Women Wednesday. We'll be back next week, same time. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for bringing energy and good vibes and showing Asia lots and lots of love. We appreciate y'all. And if you have any questions about about this community, if there's any way that, or questions that you just want to ask us, if you're, sort of challenged or wrestling with something in your business and you want to throw us a question, I can't say that we are experts in all things, but we will do our best to get you some answers or to connect you with someone, particularly if they're a part of our community who can support you. So thank you for being here. See y'all next week, same time. All right.